So what's new in the workshop, the workspace, the Historiotheque? I officially went on hiatus. I did like last month. I was really productive. I relaunched, did an official release of Semantic version. I don't remember, I have it in my notes, the version number, but the Historiotheque is cultural software. I'm doing like, trying to do continuous delivery. I have continuous adversarial review. I've been cleaning stuff up in the workspace because I'm on hiatus. I did like 3-4 weeks of work, that intense work. That's good. I was in like what I call the, realized that the hyperreflexive design is what I came up with lately in the last month. Before that it was reflexive design, and I realize now that hyperreflexive design is just a mode of reflexive design. I'm realizing there's more to the story, and as I'm on vacation, like for the summer, I'm trying to figure that out. I've got a few hints, cues, or whatever, clues, and because it's when you go into overdrive, and with the continuous review, like you're documenting everything. This is documentation. It's important. It's part of my practice. If I'm taking notes and I have this new sorting system for my Refcards, I can go from one to the other. Like I can really quickly sort them through the ideas, make networks of constellations of ideas, like in the Benjaminesque style. But the hyperreflexive, like you can't sustain that like long term, because you begin to like decompensate or just become disorganized. It's like when you're working in a painting studio with mirrors. You have a series of mirrors. You're trying to do like make a portrait of yourself, like at the easel or whatever. And I have to take off. Picasso has to come down. Yeah. So that's at you start to like flip, like you start to like fold over, and like you're almost facing backwards through time, and it's the back of your head that's going forward through time, and you're walking, and it feels like you're walking and like you're not moving, you're on a conveyor belt, Everything just like feels like, I don't know, it's just like you're part of the historiosphere, like you're just moving, like I call it like a radio, It's a mobile recording studio. I've been doing a lot of sound design, a lot of music, a lot of work in the archive with my old recordings and write my symphonies when I was 15, 16, 17. I used to walk down the street. I would hear the music, like the interwoven like voices of the polyphonic like sound in my inner ear inwardly, and it took a while. I lost it at one point. I won't get into why there. You can ask me. Just go to my website and send me a note there. I'll respond if it's in earnest. But yeah, so I would just walk around. I've been walking a lot, like I said in previous recordings, I believe. Doing what I call field recordings of atmospheric tone, like in audio, video editing and audio editing. Sometimes you record the room tone, they call it. Like you just put microphones and you record the sound of the empty room, In a studio, like there's not a lot going on in the room. So the room tone is just like if you have a dialogue or something, and you cut out a phrase or a part of the dialogue, but you keep like the video going. Well, you cut out the room, right? Because you can't just isolate like that. Everything always exists in a room unless it's purely. No, I mean even digital. As soon as you have a microphone, it's recording or a sensor is recording the space, right? So what I do is, what you could do is if you had the room tone in like 2 minutes, then you can like, because it's random pretty much, and you can like splice it together, and you add the room tone back to the sound, gives it warmth and everything, and space and reverb, whatever. So I've been recording atmospheric tone. I do it inside the lab and outside in the field. In the field every morning, and usually every morning, afternoon, and evening or night, I record like 2 minutes of audio outside, different places, like on my porch or in the cemetery, in the bike path, in the forest, whatever. Like, so I record the tone and I publish it online. I've been doing a lot of those. Been trying to remasterize, remaster some of those old recordings from the 90s. They were in MIDI format, and I converted them to WAV, and it was okay. It was better than the originals, because I had a bad sound card back then. I had a better one, like after when I studied sound design, I got a better computer and sound card. But it was still primitive, so I have to clean them up, and we're publishing them online. I was with a friend, I made him listen to some of that stuff on my YouTube account, and he was like amazed, you know, and it felt really good because I'm like, I'm winning like fans over one by one, you know. And I've been studying a lot about modernism, and I have like this characterology that I'm working on, going back to my novels and the novelistic phenomenology rewriting. I had started on the exhibition Tonal Cinema Part 2. I had done, I probably talked about this. Part 1 was a long time ago in the 90s, 98 to 2002 or whatever. I did this, I had like 16 novellas, one novel and 15 novellas, and it was like a big system interwoven. It was all about the exhibition, capital E, you know, it was like everything, like life was an exhibition for me when I was young, my 20s, early 20s. And then it became the history project, the archives project, everything, you know, all the stuff. I don't stop talking about it. But the exhibition, the old characters are coming back, and I'm able to write now, to just sit down and write my novels. And I started a repository on GitHub of just what I call design concepts or whatever. Design concepts for novels, because I realized like the whole system, like the novel as a system, novelistic phenomenology was it was like flawed. It was a fatal flaw, because like it's easy to like to think up a concept for a novel, right? You just go like boom, like I can think 100 novels a day, 1,000-page novels, but sitting down and actually writing it goes at the speed of the pencil, you know, like, and that's like a one-dimensional. There's a bottleneck. I forget. I have to give the source. I'm going to start giving my sources. Like I used to not give them, but if I want to be a serious researcher, I have to give my sources, you know, because I didn't invent any of this. It's all based on things that I've studied. I want to show you also this. I did this 2014. This is like my Mona Lisa, you know, like the Demoiselle painting by Picasso. Like, so you have like that's the image of, it was a pornography image from Playboy, I think, that they used when they did early image processing algorithms and work on image processing. I don't know if it was like in the 70s or whatever. And they used that image, and they modified it, like they processed it in different ways to like invent, like, you know, threshold functions or whatever, like whatever the basic functions that you have like in Photoshop or any photo editing software. So I did a repetition of that to show like I come from that world of like digital design, you know, processing image and sound processing. And there's a couple of mathematical equations. One of them is not a real equation. It's here. It says A equals RT. It means that art is what is relevant for all time. So it's relevant for all time. I just found it funny because it spells art there, but it is relevant for all time. Like if you're doing real cultural work, you know, like innovative work, which I must say, like, I think has to happen in what I call a crucible, you know, of hellfire. Like in my life, I've had so many catastrophic failures, like a sequence of catastrophic failures cascading through my early life and later in my teens, my 20s, it was just horrible. And I thought that history, like the Geist or whatever, the spirit of history had like this, I don't know, it was like, it was a bully, you know, it was like intimidating me and trying to get me to like say uncle, you know, and I refused to. Like I want my work to be known. I want to keep doing my work in peace and tranquility. But also I got my new book by Eric Setzi's writings. It's called The Mammal's Notebook, The Writings of Eric Setzi, edited by Ornella Volta. It's fantastic. I mean, the guy's a genius. Yeah, you might think like I look like him, and it has nothing to do with that. Although I'm doing this portrait there. Works of Love by Kierkegaard. Amazing, especially on love there. The Cantos by Ezra Pound. Something I'm reading that I really enjoy. It's just, you could read that your whole life. It's like 900 pages or whatever. La Raison Baroque by Christine. I don't know how to pronounce her name. It's B-U-C-I, Bucci, or Bucci, whatever. Bucci, I guess. Glucksmann. It's from Baudelaire to Benjamin, the Baroque Reason. So my studies of like modernism have come back in full swing, and looking at all my notes on Picasso and Cubism, and the Demoiselle painting, and all the art history that I read, the hundreds of books and essays, like in 2002, 2004, when I was studying that, because I've said this before, like when I was painting and making music and writing, but I wanted it to be informed, like as a practice, you know, to have like, anyways, sometimes there's tangents that I have to like use inhibition, like stop and not go there. But yeah, I don't know. I think this video is long enough. I don't want to make a really long video. I've been doing collage work, montage, literary. Like I print out stuff sometimes because it's fun to cut it up. I mean, friends of mine were doing a podcast or whatever on comedy and stuff, and made me think of William S. Burroughs, the interdisciplinary artist, researcher, American. Basically, to me, is the first like really modern artist. Like his cut up technique, him and Brian Geisen, like the work they did by bringing montage to literature. You know, they did it with film, sound, and images and text. You know, his techniques. Like, see what they're amazing. Like he's the funniest, like most comedic, like genius that I've ever read, pretty much. Yeah, there's a few others, like Tableaux is pretty hilarious, you know. Carnivalesque, the grotesque body, whatever. Bakhtin. Yeah, I don't know, I'm doing some projects that I can't talk about, like even my series of portraits. It's not really a series of portraits, it's just what I'm saying, because it looks, when you come to my studio, like I'm doing portraits, but it's much deeper than that. The portraits are just helping me, like, understand, because when you study someone, their semblance, the resemblance or whatever. I think this is very simple, like Seti, like you get an idea what kind of character he is, right? But when you read his writings, it has nothing to do with, that's just like his outward appearance. So how do you get inside the mind of the author, you know, the composer, painter, author, whatever, architect? There's more to it. Like this, I've been reading some really amazing books by, what's his name? It's The Private World of Picasso, David Douglas Duncan. He's like a photographer, and like, man, like he spent so much time with Picasso photographing all his works, his private collection of his own works. He had like 500 or more paintings that are still mostly not revealed to the world. Like Picasso really, people I know say things about him, he was this and that, and like he was an innovator, and he had a really long career. And people keep saying, like, I think I'm Picasso, just like when I was a kid, writing music, then my friends would say, like, my family members, you know, you think you're Beethoven, whatever. No, I'm better than Beethoven. Beethoven was really disorganized. Like, my space, it looks disorganized, but there's a hidden order to it. Like, this might look like what the heck are you doing here? But you don't know how fast I can shuffle the cards. Like, I'm almost saying I'm prestidigitate or whatever. Prestidigitate or whatever. Magician, you know. Practicing my voice, writing music for my new album, Daybreak. I wrote like 3-4 songs today. I'm going to record them soon. Archiving the stuff, going in the archive. My whole archive of paper, like my folders, I took huge chunks of it and I'm going to downsize it. I call it folder compression. Like I go through the folders, mostly printed materials from the different things that I'm reading. I like to read on paper and on, you know, I like to underline or whatever. The highlighters. Take notes, transcribe things slowly. You know, sometimes it's useful to the fact that it goes at the speed of the pencil, like I was saying earlier. You know, the speed of the pen, that one-dimensional thing. The thing is, like, made me understand kind of what Burroughs was talking about, the word virus and control and everything. Like the word virus, like it does reduce the dimensionality of experience, which is made like a 3D, 4D terrain. You know, that I think that we're navigating this historical space, the Historiotheque, and these were mobile, and like things like either pass tangentially or like radially, they come forward or away, and like we're all like these little radios, you know, cognitive radios. It's funny that we have mobile devices because I think we're mobile. Painting too, like didn't used to be mobile. It used to be like inset or whatever you call it, encrusted into the walls of the churches, and during the Protestant Reformation and stuff, it came out. Like they would remove them because they were trying to save them because there was iconoclasm and stuff, iconoclastic revolutions, and there was really great stories like about like Mary and Christ, the child or whatever, that would like had miraculous like powers, they thought, because they would like burn down a church, and it would like, they had like these icons or whatever that would, their paintings that would survive, you know, and then like they get smashed again or whatever, and they'd survive, and they keep like surviving over hundreds of years, you know. So that people thought they had like magical powers or whatever, you know. I think like I won't get into my whole Picasso market theory, but like there's the Picasso market, the Dali market, and the Warhol market. And today's the Black Lemon market, I call it. But I'm not an economist there, but I know enough that, because like you have like iconophilia, like where Picasso, like after Cubism, when he really became like famous, you know, that's like iconophilia. Like then iconoclasm, that's more like, that was the Picasso market. The Dali market's more iconophobia. Like you become idolatrous, whatever. Then you become afraid, and then the Warhol market is like you become iconoclastic. Then you destroy the icon. So you love, you fear, you destroy, you burn, and then aniconism, I call it, like that's what they have like in different religions. Where during the Protestant Reformation, like they didn't want people to be able to, like in other religions, you know, you can't like paint like living things, like portraits or whatever, for different reasons, magical beliefs probably, like ancient magical beliefs about representing faces of living things, you know, the face of God or whatever, totally forbidden in many religious systems. So I think that's what we're in now, what they call the Black Lemon market, because we don't know, there's like, people don't have an understanding or knowledge of images, or of what is, what could I call it, like a culturally, I guess not just innovative, but like relevant. You know, like I said, art is what's relevant for all time. Like you take a Rembrandt or whatever, and it was relevant then, it's relevant now, it's going to be relevant in 100,000 years if we live that long. It's just, and people don't seem to have a judgment of taste, or you know, aesthetic judgment, like what's good and what's not, like in as far as art goes. A lot of people are doing, like I was thinking, like there's people that sort of see themselves as artists and says we're all artists now, you know, but they don't create art. And there's artists, and a lot of them like think they're great artists, and I look at them and I think it looks really good. The video production is great. The paintings are all nicely painted, and you know, geometric shapes, whatever the stuff they're doing is, it's great and everything. But like, it's not like greatness. You know, there's much better stuff being done all over. I have contact with a lot of people that are doing amazing stuff. You know, and it's really culturally innovative, and it doesn't always look like what you think. Like, and the thing is with those, it all looks the same. It becomes bland and boring and tedious and like mundane, and I don't know what else to call it. You know, it's like it's superficial and repetitive, and everybody's doing the same thing because they're being influenced by each other. But my studio, like the walls are really thick and it's isolated, and no one knows where it is. And my other workspaces, no one knows where they are, and only I know where they are and how to get there. It's not being secret though. It's just that you have to have a membrane, like what I call the envelope, you know, between your workspace and the outer world. So when I'm in the workspace, the doors are closed. I get to experiment in a highly controlled environment. And then when I go outside, I'm not doing art like outside. I'm doing field recordings. Like I'm very, very discreet, and because I don't think you take the experiments out into the world. I think that's crazy. Like you're gonna hurt yourself. You're gonna hurt people. You know. So people think like, hey, I'm an artist, like, and then they say, oh yeah, but you think like you're just artiste, you know, like you, yeah, but I have like methodology, because that's what this all started with. This video I'm gonna end now. So I started writing last month, like you know, why methodology matters in an art, disciplinary art research operation, whatever, an art operation. And I've been thinking about that constantly, and I want to talk about methodology. I was going to talk about it now, but I didn't really get into it. That's why I was saying in the beginning, like I document everything. You know, I put the timestamp, like I have like notebooks. I have like hundreds of notebooks, and it's all, I write on the computer. I transcribe them onto the computer. See the timestamp, like 5-6 times per page. Every line almost sometimes. And now I'm writing like in an axiomatic like method. Or aphoristic style, I mean, more like they're axioms to me, but that's another thing. That's my reflexive design. So that's it. I don't know if I made any sense, but let me see you just look at the top. Yeah, I'm a field artist.